this computer.
There we go.
And then we're going to go live. It's preparing to live stream a meeting.
Okay.
And we're connecting to live video. And I have clicked go live. So are we live?
Well, there's one way I can.
All right, we may be live here, so let's give a little intro to everybody out there.
Live, my friend.
Excellent. Well,
we are live.
Little Screaming Jay in the background for us. We're going to put a spell on you tonight, I think. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Evan and Aaron Show. I'm your host, Aaron Gordon.
And I'm Evan Casey. I am the Ed McMahon to Aaron Gordon's Johnny Carson. So there you go.
Well, today you were our man on the scene, and in pursuit of getting, some firsthand experience about what everybody's dealing with, and of course, everybody out there is getting their own firsthand experience. But in general, we're trying to get out there, get a little bit of information, and share it with everybody. So we sent Evan out into the field today to a grocery store in Fishers. He had to do a little grocery shopping on his lunch break, and we decided to film a little bit and then record some audio from inside. That video is on our webpage, our Facebook page. Thank you. And you can view it. To be honest, it doesn't make for great viewing because it was a pretty uneventful trip for the most part, which is actually a really, really good thing right about now. But if you want to watch a few minutes of that, you can. Otherwise, it's 30 minutes of a grown man shopping. But let's get into it, Evan. What was your experience?
Yes, let's do.
Just kicking off, what was the parking lot like? How many people were in the store? Did you encounter anybody? What was social distancing like? Checkout? Go for it, man.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Aaron, here's the thing, dude. I mean, you've been to the grocery store, and you've talked about your trips to CVS and the different places where you go get stuff. I think right now, in general, a lot of Americans are feeling anxiety. I know that whenever I pulled up to the grocery store, I really was not like scared or anything like that, but I was concerned. I was like, okay, I know where I'm at with this whole thing. I know where I'm at with the COVID pandemic. I know that I try really hard to social distance and to make sure that I'm very diligent about when I come back. And I think that's the biggest thing that's on people's minds right now, Aaron. And before I dive too deep, I just wanted to kind of get your opinion on it, what you have seen. Like, I think the biggest thing on my mind when I pulled up was, is everyone else that I'm going to come in contact with, are they going to be as diligent as I am? And I think a lot of people take upon themselves to answer that question selfishly. But in these type of days, I don't feel bad about being selfish. I don't feel bad. I don't know about you, but I really do. I want to make sure that me and my family, my loved ones, I want to make sure that they, if they are exposed to it, that I didn't have anything to do with that. So, I mean, where are you at with that? Like, are you in the same kind of mind space that I am?
Well, yeah, and you used an interesting word there, because I think there's a couple types of selfishness in a time like this, and I obviously think yours is the good kind, in the sense that you're being selfish with your health and the health of your loved ones, and you want to do what it takes to make sure you're following as many of the guidelines as possible and observing the social distancing. It's what my experience has been. What I consider a more selfish attitude is going out and, invading other people's space. Hey, if you don't think it's serious, that's fine, but other people do, and that's how you respect other people. So I think it's selfish behavior to be going out and not observing those things. If you don't want to wear a mask, that's your choice. But if you see other people doing it, it should come to mind right away why they are, and it makes you an asshole, quite frankly.
Yeah. No.
If you choose to mess with people in that sense, just keep your distance. That's fine. 6 feet's fine if you don't have a mask on. I'm cool with that. I'm not going to freak out on anybody. My experience has been at local stores that a lot of people are wearing masks. People seem to be, friendly, but not overly friendly, so as to get into like some sort of long conversation kind of thing, but generally being respectful. I think that was a lot of your experience today, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let me preface what I'm getting ready to say about today with the last time I actually went to the store. It was about a week and a half ago, a couple weeks ago. I went to this same grocery store and was appalled
Hmm.
at what I saw. There were men who stopped in the middle of the aisle carrying on conversations with no masks, and just blocking the aisle for everyone else who wanted to go and get some stuff. So there were multiple times I had to turn around. People, you know, once again, not social distancing as far as coming, past each other, not even making it's kind of like the whole walking path thing, Aaron, where people are walking side by side and they
Yeah.
don't do anything to like, to get in single file. It's
Mhm.
like, I know that the grocery store aisles are very narrow, but at least you can get into a single file so that we can kind of file by each other with as much distance as possible. That wasn't happening last time. As a matter of fact, I saw several men who had masks, but had their masks down by their throat talking to people. And I'm like, what, what is that? I have no idea what that is. So I was very disappointed last time. Very, very disappointed last time. However, went to the same grocery store this time, about 2 weeks later. Aaron and I got the idea to say, hey, let's just go ahead and record and document what we think, or not what we think, but what we feel in the actual situation.
Mhm.
And so I said, hey, I got to go to the store, so let's do it. I remember walking in, and like I said, that anxiety hits you.
Yeah.
But the good thing about it is that when I walked in, you can hear this on the audio. There was a lady that was coming out, and she was fully masked, and she had gloves on, and that's, we're still trying to figure out the glove thing,
Yeah.
and that's fine. But she was fully masked, and she stopped, I stopped, did the whole Hoosier hospitality thing, said, you go first. And so she did. And, that was cool. But that can be a potential sticky spot whenever you go to the store. You got to think this through. This is
Yep.
why the CDC is saying, and also, Dr. Fauci is saying that, hey, look, just one person, just go to the store, one person, don't take the kids or anything like that,
Yeah.
because the more people you have in tow, the more, lines you got to make
Yeah.
sure that you have, right behind you. So it made perfect sense to me, especially in that situation. I can't imagine a family going shopping right
Yeah.
now and maintaining social distancing.
Well,
Um,
I definitely think having a plan when you go
yeah.
to, like, nobody should really just be browsing
Mm-mm.
anymore, especially if you're going out right now. We'll talk about it later in the show, with the Mayor Hogsett announcing how Indianapolis is going to interface too.
Mhm.
But malls are going to be open at 50% capacity soon, and that strikes me as a very unique place that could become a real hotbed for infections, because if people are going to want to get together with their friends, they're going to go to the mall,
Yeah. Yep.
and they're all going to, everybody's going to want a new pair of Jordans right now. Everybody's going to go to Finish Line and Foot Locker
Yep.
and be congregating for a continuous period of time, in a confined space, just looking at things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to present some issues. And I get it. I want to get back out. I want to do things, but it just seems an unnecessary risk. And if you are going to go out, I think it behooves you to, like I said, have a plan, have your grocery list out, be ready to go.
Yeah.
Look, if they don't have your first choice ketchup, get them, get the second one and move on.
Off
And
brand, just
really,
go.
go with the store brand. It's probably good enough and it's cheaper.
Right. Right.
This,
Exactly.
this isn't a time to really be, weighing the pros and cons of, various soy sauces, if you will.
Right. Exactly.
And I mean nothing by that. I could have just said ketchup as well. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but people are going to be tense. It's going to be sensitive. So I think having a plan and, caring for each other. There's been some things on TV, these big incidents that you see. Two guys got kicked out of a store yesterday, and one of them sucker punched the guard on the way
Exactly.
out and broke
Yeah.
his arm in the scuffle. And
Yep.
people are tense, but man, this has never been a better time for we're all in this together.
I know.
Being
Exactly.
being smart about this means helping each other out. I mean,
Yep.
that's the most basic thing. So back to your trip today.
hmm hmm
You said most people were wearing masks.
Most people were, and Aaron's right. I mean, if you watch the video, you know, it is what it is. It was an uneventful trip, which is very, it is encouraging. It's very encouraging. But as I went through the store, I learned some things. One, two, three, four, six things, man.
Okay.
That's not bad. That's not bad. The first thing I learned was that most people were wearing a mask. I would say I walked by several people that weren't, but I would say probably between 70 and 75% of the people in the store at the time I was in the store were wearing masks. And more importantly, they were wearing them correctly. They didn't have them down here. They didn't, they literally, they were wearing their mask. And so it's almost like you get so excited that, you're, as a father, I got so excited when the kids actually went to the potty. It's like, yay, they actually went to the potty. It was kind of that moment that you said, okay, maybe people are starting to take this thing seriously. But everybody was cool. I'd say probably, like I said, about 75% of people had their masks on. The second thing I learned was that in this situation, there was one situation that I'll talk about in a little bit that was like, but in this situation I was in today, Hoosier hospitality shone through very, very strong.
Good.
People maintained a safe social distance. If they saw you coming, even if they were on the phone, like people had their heads on a swivel today. They really did. They saw you coming. They as far over as they could to make sure you had plenty of room to pass. There were times when I was in an aisle all by myself, and that's something else that I learned today too. Is that for some reason I may have picked the right Wednesday, but if you're looking at maybe going toward a lower lower peak time, Wednesday at 1 was just fine today.
Great.
And it was a beautiful day. So I imagine people would probably be out and doing stuff. And obviously it's on my lunch break, and some of you guys may not be able to take an hour lunch break. But I was able to. I had a store really close, and it was a great time. It was a great timing for me. The other things that I learned when I was there is that at this particular store, most of the employees had the appropriate PPE, and they had that, and that really was encouraging to me again, because it showed that the store and the chain really cared for their employees, made sure they had them, and they were uniform. So it wasn't like people brought their own stuff. They were like everybody had the same thing. So that what that said to me is that the employer provided that for them. But it says a lot, because it says, hey, look, we value what you're doing. We want to protect you. We want to protect our customers, but we also want to protect your families too. So we're going to provide you with that PPE that you need. All the employees, every single one of them I saw, were wearing their masks appropriately. They were wearing gloves as well. As a matter of fact, I saw as I walked by the deli spot, there were two people in line, social distancing, fine. One person did it, and I kind of walked by, and it was at this point to where I didn't say a whole lot, and my color commentary is terrible. Okay, so I am sorry, but I was amazed, because the guy did his thing, took the gloves off, sanitized, put another set of gloves, and said, "Now can I help you?"
Awesome.
And it was really cool. Like they had it down pat.
Excellent.
Grocery prices have risen a bit.
Yeah,
they've gone up. Checking out hurt a little bit. I was like, okay. I mean, it's not bad yet, but I did buy a little bit of meat that was there, and there looked to be enough meat for people to kind of peruse and grab something. But you can definitely tell that it's a little depleted.
Sure.
But prices have gone up a little bit, so keep that in mind, guys. But overall, and here's what I take away from that. Overall, if we as a society look like we did today at 1 p.m. in the store that I was at, we're going to be okay. this second wave, and just because we have this, I'm with Dr. Fauci in the fact that there is going to be a second wave of this. Um, but I believe that if today was an indication of what, and I'm not trying to be rah Indiana, but man, if today is an indication of what, we as Hoosiers are doing or starting to realize, then I think we're going to help the situation rather than to hinder the recovery from COVID-19. I was very, very pleased, very surprised. It was a great trip, other than the blow to my billfold. That was it. I mean, it was a good, uneventful trip. I did notice, Aaron, though, by the time I was done, my anxiety was a lot lower. And I thought about it, and I was wondering, I was like, could it be that I was talking to someone while I was shopping? Because actually, when I was talking to you, I was talking to you, but it still kept me focused. Like I had my list. And so I wasn't looking for anyone else, or even if I ran into somebody that I knew, it didn't distract me. I was able to go in, talk to somebody, and just hear them talking to me back. And I think that if you have anxiety going to the store, man, call someone up and just talk to them while you're shopping. That way it can keep you focused on what you need to do. If that doesn't work, then figure something else out. But boy, that really helped me out today, man. So thank you. Cheers.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I could be on the other end of that.
It was those melodious tones, my friend. The melodious tones of AG.
So if you're just joining us, our top story with our hard-hitting journalism here at the Evan Aaron Show is that a grown man went to the grocery store and had no issues. So
spent way too much money.
In the grand scheme of things, that's a very, very good thing. But that allows us to segue a little bit into, Marion County announced that they're reopening phase 2. They're basically a week behind most of the rest of the state. And I've got a few things up here. I'll think that I can share with everybody. Coming May 15th, in-person gatherings, including worship services, are allowed to go up to 25 people. Non-essential retail, including malls, are open at 50% capacity. Public library branches may offer curbside services. And then on the 22nd, we get in-person dining at restaurants, but only in outside areas and with strict social distancing. And restaurants will be capped at 50% capacity. So anybody who invested in a patio recently for their business, their restaurant, is in a good spot. And then targeting June 1st, personal services such as hair and nail salons and non-essential manufacturing and industrial. So things like bars, theaters, gyms, arcades, zoos, and museums are still closed. And they're opening up in a future phase. So Marion County set to, begin easing into this as well. And I think as you were talking about at the grocery, a way for a lot of these businesses to, quite frankly, encourage people to solicit them, which presents its own weird sort of catch-22 of an issue. But if you're going to go to your favorite restaurant and you don't see the servers wiping down the tables really, really well between every flip. You don't see anybody wearing masks or anything of that nature. I think you're going to be, even though it's your favorite, you're going to be a little less likely to solicit those places. And conversely, the places that do have the uniform PPE and are making a show, quite frankly, of wiping down, sanitizing tables between every turn, that sort of thing is going to be encouraging. And that's, you mentioned the anxiety and everything. And I think that's how you build a bit of the American psyche back up. Because I think even people who think this is maybe a hoax, in the back of their mind do have a little bit of fear, have a little bit of anxiety. And we're all in this together. So we've got to build each other up, and we've got to let each other know that certain behaviors are okay so long as they're done in a socially prescribed manner. I mean, it's just another layer to the social contract that we all make for being in a civil society. And I don't really think it's a whole lot to ask
Aaron,
for people to do that.
Yeah. No. What I wanted to ask you, and it's something that Marion County announced, and I know it's going to be pretty much across the board, is that 50% capacity. I can understand 50% capacity at a dine-in place, like a neighborhood restaurant. I get
Mm-hmm.
that. 50% capacity at the mall. I, that I
People
mean,
moving about, congregating. Yeah.
it is. I get it. I totally understand that they're wanting to get the economy back going, but it's almost like if you're in a stick, if you're driving a stick and you miss that gear and it stalls on you, you've got to do everything and you got to restart and do everything. I'm just scared that we're going to miss a gear in this, and it's going to stall us instead of keeping us moving forward. I mean, I don't know that right there, that piece right there. I'm kind of leery about. What do you think about
It's
that?
a concern, but again, back to how your experience was at the grocery and what we're hoping for out of restaurants is if there's somebody at the doors, the entrances and exits to the mall,
Yep.
counting people as they're coming in, handing out or at least expecting people to have their own PPE.
Yeah.
And
But you
then
actually mentioned that today going to the store. They did not have people. They did not have a count going, which
right.
I think that's in my book a no-brainer.
Well, I don't, every store has its own way of determining their capacity and things of that nature. So that they may have some other way of monitoring. Maybe there's somebody who does that via security. But definitely going to the mall presents a unique issue from the standpoint of, okay, if you just decide that you're going to Macy's and not the larger, into the mall itself, if you will, or if you do, what happens, every store is going to have their own sort of greeter, if you will, somebody stand there saying, hey, I'm sorry, you need to wait a little minute, it's like getting on a ride or something like that. Nope. Gotta wait a sec until somebody leaves, going to the club, you go to the club and you're standing in line.
Yeah.
I got to wait until 3 people come out before I can let anybody else in. Hey, it's an inconvenience, and it should be an inconvenience that you're willing to take by simply making the decision to go to the mall. I mean, if you don't know that these things are going to be there, then you're not paying attention and you're not participating appropriately. And I will tell that straight to your face.
Absolutely.
We have got to, I don't want to say check each other, but we have to encourage each other to do this, because if we flaunt it, like you said, we'll just backslide, and it will potentially get worse. So, the weird thing about this is because the virus is so unique, and there's not really a huge playbook. There's a pandemic playbook, or there was, to tell you how to do certain things. But once it's here, dealing with it comes down to a lot of people having to make good, smart decisions with this information. And it's not one size fits all. Certain businesses are going to be well suited. Certain restaurants that are summertime restaurants and have the patio seating, they're loving it. They're going to be excited for this to come back, because they'll have a unique opportunity to take advantage of it.
Exactly.
If you own a movie theater, I'm sorry, it sucks. I don't know what to tell you other than maybe start getting clever about having outdoor movies at night or something.
Well,
I don't know what the answer.
The drive-ins
are making a comeback.
I mean, make a comeback, and it's like that will be very interesting because depending on what happens with this, will this not just be a comeback? Will this be an actual viable business for people to look at in the future? Drive-ins, because I think this is one of those things that is it's going to turn into something that people watch for years and years to come, because I think that the opportunity for mutation in this specific strain, I think, just from what I'm reading, it presents itself as a higher opportunity than just like an influenza A or B. And that's why it gets on my nerves so much when people just say, hey, it's just like the flu. No, it's not. It really isn't.
You hit it on the head. I think we touched on this last week, specifically with sports and certain types of entertainment, but I definitely think the drive-in experience might be revived. I just saw that Denmark is going to experiment with drive-in concerts. Don't know anything more than that. Just saw the headline as I was flipping through, and just made a mental note of it. But if this is the way that a lot of places think they need to move forward, it's cool with me.
Hey, if Connor Prairie wants to go ahead and pave their entire symphony on the prairie, that's fine with me. I'll go.
Unfortunately, they did cancel that for the summer.
Yeah, I know.
Which
I
makes
know.
sense. I mean, if you're ever out there, it's just wall to wall people.
Absolutely.
There wouldn't be you'd have to really, really crack down on how you sold tickets and in
Mhm.
enforcing things. And
Yeah.
in that situation, it's probably a little bit more trouble than it's
So,
worth.
hey, Ron, I would be shirking my duties if I
Mhm.
did not call halftime.
All righty, it's halftime. Whistle
It is
blown.
halftime, my friend. And this week, it
Yes.
is your honor, my friend,
This week,
bartender of the week.
shout out to the lovely JoJo. Got a chance to speak with her
JoJo.
and some friends last night. Always great to catch up. JoJo's a wonderful bartender. She'll put you in your place in a hurry if you get out of line. But she's also a really good friend,
Oh, yeah.
great bartender. We love seeing her. I hope to see her soon in person. So to JoJo, bartender of the week. To
Halftime
Evan,
shot.
halftime shots.
Slancha. Ah,
Oh, that is the good stuff, I guess.
that will man, if I felt any better right now, I'd be twins. That's how good I feel right now, my friend.
So where to next?
Well, what's interesting is that we started talking about how the most of the people had masks on, and our good friend Michelle Freed had a Facebook post about this very thing,
Mhm.
and it was a really great article, and it was talking about how following maybe Japan's example about people wearing masks. If 80% of Americans wore masks, and I want to throw this out there and kind of get your opinion on it. I've been kind of digesting this and reading it over and over again. But it said if 80% of Americans were to wear masks, we could eliminate the spread of COVID-19 very, very, very quickly. Notice I said eliminate the spread.
Mhm.
No, and that's all the article was saying
Yeah.
is that we could very much eliminate the spread, not the disease. But I thought it was a very interesting concept. So I want to pose this question to you, Aaron. What would it take for 80% of Americans to wear their mask? What kind of message or messaging do you think it would take for Americans to say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this, and if we do this for 2 or 3 weeks, we should be able to slow down the spread of this disease.
Um, my absolute honest opinion on that is that it would, at the most basic level, require the most powerful people in this country to stop making this about politics
Mm,
and start making it about following the science as best they can. The CDC does not have the authority to make anybody do anything.
yeah,
Everything they do is based on the best science that they have available to them, and they make recommendations based on that science. If you feel that those things are too strict, you're in a position to do something about it. But that's not what we're seeing. We're not seeing presidents and governors saying, yes, this is a very serious issue, and this is how we intend to deal with it. This is how we intend to mitigate those issues. They're flat out saying
mhm,
that the CDC is lying. They're
yeah,
making it out to be far worse than it is. They're politicizing it in a way that is absolutely unnecessary. And there are a
yeah,
lot of people trying to politicize this because that's what politicians do. I'd be absolutely a bald-faced liar to say that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer aren't trying to take advantage of this in their ways as well.
yeah,
But
yeah,
they're not pretending that it isn't a serious issue.
right.
And we've got people who might otherwise be good politicians. They may be good governors.
Mhm,
They may be good mayors. But to think that your life of no experience whatsoever in the medical field uh, gives you the right to just undercut what some of the smartest people on the planet and their efforts are doing, um, it's just mind-blowing. So to answer your question, on the most basic level, if the president of the United States came on TV tomorrow wearing a mask and said, I have the utmost faith in Anthony Fauci. I believe what he's saying is true. I'm not going to go with every CDC recommendation because I do believe that the economy needs to open up in a certain way. But here's how we're going to do that.
Yeah.
A unified national plan that gives guidance to the states and for the states to give further guidance to counties and cities is absolutely, I think, not just the best way, the only way you would ever possibly get that number of people to take this seriously. Because you have go ahead. Yeah.
No. I was just going to say, you were in my head, dude. I mean, there were two things I wanted to say. Yesterday, I watched the testimonies in front of the Senate, and one Republican senator actually said, "Hey, you know what? We're not having enough testing. It's affecting the agricultural industry. My state is huge." It was the state of Kansas, and he really, it seemed like he really was speaking for people. And once again, it's just like you said, Aaron, there are people on both sides that are politicizing this, that are really trying to take advantage of it. But what in my opinion, what needs to happen is we need to stop having people, like you said, not only politicize it, but just flat out lying about it. I mean, Rand Paul had COVID-19.
Yeah.
He had it. And this guy lied about how unimportant this was, or how it was so important for us to get kids back in school and things like that, and challenge the most preeminent, the one person that I think the American people could have faith in, Dr. Anthony Fauci. He undermined him. And
He tried to undermine him.
I mean, I was so glad that Dr. Fauci just said, whoa, wait, pump the brakes. I need to, let me clarify. But what is so maddening about this situation, Aaron, whenever you talk about getting back to, full circle, whenever you talk about wearing masks and not wearing masks, and, that would be a whole nother podcast we could talk about, is this upcoming, in my opinion, this upcoming cultural war about wearing masks and not wearing masks. And I can really see that if we don't become united on this, this is just yet another thing that Americans are going to be divided over. And we need our politicians to stress that, yes, it is imperative for us to get our economy back. We need to get it back rolling. We need to get it going. We need to abandon the talk about getting back to normal. We've said that from the very first podcast. We said that there is not a normal anymore. We're going to have to craft a new normal. And instead of doing that, we are allowing these people who have become so comfortable in this type of capitalistic society to continue doing business as usual, or at least trying to get us to do business as usual. When this time calls for people who are true pioneers, who are willing to say, okay, we have never seen this before. So let's take all of our industries. Let's take education, medicine, industry, tech. Let's take all of those and forget what it looked like January 2020. What are those things going to look like January 2021? We need to look in the future toward these things, because if we go backwards, it doesn't make sense. Humanly, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense as a human being for us to devolve back to what we were. It's not going to work, in my opinion. So, for me, in order to get 80% of Americans to wear a mask, you're right, Aaron. It's going to have to come from leadership, and right now, unfortunately, it may have to come from the middle leadership, governors, local officials.
I think we've been seeing that.
Yes,
there are people that have been doing a good job. DeWine in Ohio, again, Holcomb here, that have taken the lead, shown good decision making, taking it seriously while also balancing that with the need and desire to get everybody back out there. the thing I don't get is it takes so little from us as people to be respectful. And as far as like American crises and world crises go, this couldn't be a more straightforward one to deal with. This is not somebody bombing Pearl Harbor and leaving us to go fight halfway around the world. This is an opportunity for us to demonstrate that we actually care about our fellow Americans, and we'll just do this bare minimum of getting things back to not back to, but to a new reality. This is an opportunity to hit the reset button in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely great opportunity for every industry, every institution to think about how it's been doing it, because it's been brought to a bit of a standstill. So this is an opportunity for everything out there to say, hey, have we been doing it right up to this point? What can we do better? And we're going to see some interesting cultural shifts, some interesting business shifts because of this. And hopefully sooner than later, but that only happens, we come back full circle if people can follow a little bit of guidance. I don't know why that's so tough. But it seems to be, there's a time and a place to be an American rebel. There's a time and a place to be a rock and roller, and a time and a place to be like, oh, so we stand in this line and then one by one we all get things. Oh, okay. I can abide by that. I mean, exactly. In a lot of ways, that's really what it is. I think everybody would agree that you're an asshole if you just walk in and try to cut to the front of the line, and it's not because of a burning building or something like that. If you're just like walk in, you're like, oh, look at these 20 people in line, I'm just going straight to the front. No,
like, don't be a prick.
You're a jerk. Okay, be a prick. This is just some basic social skills, and we're just that's all we're asking. We're not really asking a whole lot of people.
Right.
So.
All right, Aaron. It's that time of the show.
All right, let's do it.
And well, ladies and gentlemen, I have lied to Aaron tonight, and I told him, kind of gave him an intro to what I wanted him to think I was going to ask him about, but absolutely no, because we have come to the time that we ask, hey, Aaron. And tonight's topic is politics. But don't worry, my friend. This is it's a light question, I think. In this question, or in this scenario, I want you to ponder, there are 3 presidential candidates. Okay. And you're going to have to choose one and give your explanation why.
Okay.
Donald J. Trump, Joseph Biden, or Claire Underwood from House of Cards, my friend.
Oh, my Lord.
There you go.
Wow.
There you go. Underwood 2020. Let's hear what you got to say, man.
I am straight punting on this question, man.
I gave you an out.
I gave you an out. Well, no, because I ain't voting for Claire Underwood either. Man. You gave me like...
Yeah, I dealt you a bad hand, man. I did.
Turd sandwich, douchebag, and a murderer. Man, Evan.
Oh man, I know.
I want Archer for president.
Archer. Okay. There you go. I will gladly let you.
Oh man. Yeah.
Wow.
And, what's funny is I stopped watching that show before she became president. It kind of lost me. Yeah, it lost me a bit. It went off the rails when he killed the reporter for me.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Sorry, spoiler.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler. Like the first reporter he killed?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. I get it. No, I hung in there for a little while. So there you go.
I thought it was good from the standpoint of several people that are good actors and actresses got an opportunity to just chew up the scenery with some monologues. Knowing what we know now about Kevin Spacey, maybe they were just filming him on a daily basis.
There you go. No, actually, Aaron, I did have a backup one because I knew that one was going to be hard. That was going to be a difficult one. So once again, very light. Your number one. Hey, Aaron, what is your number one show to binge during the quarantine, my friend?
I had heard
Or
so
what
much.
has been your number one?
We crushed Ozark really, really
Oh,
quickly.
okay.
Started a while back and looked halfway decent. Just is one of those things I don't typically binge that many shows. My wife is much more into that, but obviously we've had plenty of time, and I think we knocked out Ozark in under 2 weeks. It's 3 seasons
Wow.
long. Jason Bateman is terrific in it.
Bateman's phenomenal.
Just a really, really well done show. There's a new show coming out that looks like it's kind of trying to piggyback on the heels of it. Looks like Vince Vaughn is a drug dealer in Arkansas or something like that. So
What?
same sort of thing though. I'll have to dig it up. I'm sure if you type in Vince Vaughn drug dealer Arkansas, either his arrest record or a show will come up.
I was like,
you never know with Vince. But yeah, it looks like it could be, of the same vein. Very, very, very kind of Southern Gothic kind of vibe to it.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I thought Ozark was cool. How about yourself?
Oh, well, man. I mean, when it comes right down to it, I love the oldies but goodies. West Wing. I turn it on and I can quote most of the stuff, but it's just so well written. I will watch that forever, my friend.
I think it's some of Sorkin's best work. Although when you go back and watch it, man, you realize just that man he struggles with women. That guy's got he's like, you're a strong woman. I'm not sure I can allow that.
Yeah, exactly. Nope.
But yeah, I do love me some West Wing for sure. We were watching a little bit of it last night. So it's a good time, good opportunity to go down rabbit holes. I've been watching a whole lot of MUTV. Been watching a lot of old Manchester United soccer games.
Very good.
In lieu of that, and if you get a chance, there's a funny. There's a lot of them on YouTube. It's called Gary Neville's Soccer Box, and it's him interviewing past Premier League greats: Thierry Henry, Ryan Giggs, Jamie Carragher. I think there's one with Phil. So it's kind of fun.
Very
it's just
nice.
Two of them sitting on a couch. So it's a good opportunity.
Very nice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our show. Unless you have anything else to say, Aaron.
Just want to give a shout out to Project Hoosiers Help Heroes. They're our friends from up north at the bar. They have turned their kitchen into a sweatshop, making masks for anybody who needs them. Did they make yours? Yes,
they made mine.
And it
was such good quality. I put in another order and made a donation. These guys are awesome. Guys, look them up on Facebook. If you need face masks, they make really good fitting face masks. So yeah, shout out to them.
And then just to do a little bit more public service for everybody, if you get on, I believe it's indiana.gov, there is Back on Track Indiana. It outlines the governor's roadmap to opening up Indiana, and then you can link onto all the individual guidelines for Indianapolis as well. It shows you all 5 phases of reopening. Get your we're trying to help, but there's an opportunity to get your information firsthand as well. An educated populace is how we will get ourselves back to good. Thank you all for tuning in. I've had us up on my TV watching this on Facebook Live out of the corner of my eye. It's kind of interesting to watch.
See the gray. Is it coming through, man?
You're looking fantastic, man. A little salt and pepper's awesome.
Salt and pepper stuff. Okay. All right.
Salt and pepper's here. So
awesome.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Hope you're having a wonderful night. Stay safe out there. We love you all. And hopefully we'll be able to see some of you soon in person. It'd be great too. So take care, everybody.
Absolutely. See you guys.